In the social media jungle where everyone battles for clout, one name began to roar louder than the rest. This name was Evance Akoko, also known as Billionaire Sirkal. He was just 23 years old, and his posts were a masterclass in digital envy. They showcased his top-tier fashion, luxury cars, exotic parties, road trips with the elite, and endless nights drenched in opulence. At Kirinyaga University, where he was pursuing a degree in architecture, he wasn't just another student. Akoko was a legend in the making, and to many, a walking dream and an icon. But beneath the perfectly filtered lifestyle was a darker current running silently in the background. One filled with unanswered questions, mystery, and ultimately, death. On November 17, 2024, that digital dream came crashing down when news broke. Akoko, aka Sirkal, had been found dead, stabbed in the back during a chaotic night in Kibera. To many, it felt surreal. How could a young man who seemed to have everything die in such a brutal and senseless way? This wasn't just a story of murder, it was a story of illusion, obsession, and the hidden dangers of fame in the age of fast wealth and faster lies. Who was Evance Akoko, and what happened in Kibera that night? And why does this case echo another tragic loss? This was the loss of a fellow student tycoon, Denno Bright, just weeks earlier. Hello and welcome to Dark Hour Dogs, where shadows speak and the truth finds light. This is the haunting unraveling of a life that looked too good to be true, because it probably was. Viewer discretion is advised. Before his untimely death sent shockwaves through social media and university circles, Evance Akoko had already become a symbol, not of crime or controversy, but of success. Akoko had become something of a myth in youth culture. He was a dreamer who, seemingly overnight, cracked the code to wealth in a country where most youth are still waiting for opportunity. If you scrolled through his TikTok or Instagram, you would see it all. Akoko drove several Audi Q3s, frequented beach villas, and was seen having poolside drinks. He also wore designer watches and made flamboyant captions. He used catchy phrases on social media like, "Don't hustle hard, hustle smart." To his followers, especially the ones trapped in joblessness or student debts, Akoko wasn't just rich, he was the blueprint. But as with all blueprints, closer inspection reveals what the foundation is made of. At just 23 years old, the Kirinyaga University architecture student had cultivated the persona of a self-made mogul. He claimed to earn his fortune through forex trading, cryptocurrency, and other digital investments. He posted screenshots of trades, promised mentorships, and flaunted mysterious online transactions that made it look effortless. But for some, the story didn't quite add up. Within his first year on campus, Akoko had already started flying out for weekends. By the second year, he switched from second-hand clothes to head-to-toe Gucci. By the third year, he was pulling up to campus in a foreign car, his signature cologne leaving a trail behind him. This lifestyle, however, wasn't just about money. It was about status, power, and identity. But where were the verified companies, the trail of consistent income, and the tax filings? No one, not even his closest friends, could point out to a single business office or tangible product tied to him. His money came fast, and just as fast, so did the whispers. There were murmurs that some of his dealings were entirely legal. Others believed that he may have stepped on toes, perhaps borrowed from the wrong people, perhaps flashed wealth in places where envy grows quietly, or messed with the wrong people. In Nairobi's underbelly, showing off can get you followed. Or worse, targeted. To many, he was an icon of hope, but to some, he was a threat. A walking provocation in a place where hunger and hustle intertwine with danger. And in the streets, not everyone cheers when you rise. It started like any other night, and nothing was out of the ordinary. It was just another evening of soft Nairobi winds, pulsing beats, and lights flickering against rooftops in Kibera. For Sospita Onyango Osungo, famously known as Evance Akoko or Billionaire Sirkal, it was meant to be another night to flex. Another stop in a city where he had become a living legend as he was young, rich, and fearless. For him, this was a casual visit to a longtime friend in Kibera. On that tragic night, Akoko drove himself into Kibera in his spotless white Audi Q3, a car that seemed completely out of place in the gritty back streets. Accompanied by a tight crew of male and female friends, he pulled up near a local entertainment joint. The streets buzzed with nightlife, and word of his arrival spread fast. And just like that, the atmosphere shifted. He lit up the night the moment he stepped out. He was dressed in all white, wore a designer watch, and he didn't blend in. Akoko commanded all the attention. He bought drinks, not just for his group, but for strangers too. Bartenders smiled while others stared. However, his generosity not only filled glasses, but also stirred something darker in the air. There was envy, suspicion, and resentment. This is because dominance in Kibera is a fragile currency, and Akoko didn't come to play safe. As the party peaked, word got out that a famous Ohangla artist was performing nearby. Fueled by excitement and alcohol, the group decided to move. They headed to a second club, deeper into the heart of Kibera's nightlife. That was where it all unraveled. Unfriendly crowds began to gather and someone whispered that Akoko had insulted a local. Others claimed that he had disrespected a woman. Whether true or twisted by rumors, it didn't matter. In these narrow alleyways, stories travel fast and violence travels faster. Tension broke. A verbal argument exploded into a physical confrontation. A gang of boda riders, notorious for their quick-tempered unity, descended on the scene. Punches flew, bottles shattered, and the knives came out. Witnesses say that Akoko tried to retreat, but he was repeatedly stabbed in the back. Blood pooled on the ground and screams tore throughout the night. His friends were also not spared. They were also slashed and bleeding. In the chaos, the group's driver jumped into their Audi and sped off to find help. But when police arrived minutes later, it was already too late. Akoko was gone. The boy who once symbolized fast money and bold dreams now lay lifeless in a dark corner of the city's underbelly. A Jamhuri police station report confirmed the murder, and his body was transferred to Chiromo mortuary, awaiting autopsy. But this didn't feel like a robbery gone wrong. This felt personal, calculated, and inevitable. Just weeks before Akoko's death, another tragedy had rocked the Kirinyaga University community. Another student, Dennis Odor Otieno, better known online as Denno Bright, had died. He too had been a campus celebrity, a 25-year-old who seemed to crack the code of instant wealth. Instagram feeds showed him cruising in foreign cars, clinking champagne glasses by the ocean in Mombasa, and posing with bundles of cash. Like Akoko, Denno claimed to be thriving through forex trading, crypto flips, and digital business ventures. Their lifestyles mirrored each other almost too perfectly. But on the night of October 10, 2024, the story of Dennis ended abruptly. After a night of heavy partying in a Mombasa apartment, Denno reportedly collapsed. The autopsy painted a grim picture. Dennis suffered acute heart complications, pancreatitis, and evidence of suppressed central nervous system. This is a deadly cocktail often linked to alcohol and possible drug use. What followed was silence, then murmurs, then fear. Two young men who were digital hustlers with same lifestyles and from the same school were now both dead. The mystery surrounding their deaths was that they occurred within weeks of each other. While the death of Dennis was medically explained, it opened a door of disturbing questions. Was this simply a coincidence, or were both men working in dangerous circles they couldn't escape? Some students whispered of a secret competition. Others suggested a dark underworld tied to quick riches. Could Akoko's fate have been a ripple effect from Denno's demise? Was it a retaliation and a warning? Many wondered if these boys were playing in territories far beyond their understanding. Questions arose concerning whether there was a pressure to maintain appearances, and that this pressure may have been so intense that it drove them to dangerous extremes. Or, in a more chilling theory, could these deaths be connected? Though police insist that these deaths were unrelated, the eerie similarity in patterns for both left the university reeling in fear and unease. What was once a hub of promise now felt haunted by shadows of fallen icons. Some students believed that Denno's death may have triggered a spiral. This was either through competition, jealousy, or secrets. Others wondered if someone or something was pulling strings behind the scenes. In the wake of Evance Akoko's gruesome killing, speculations rippled through every corner of the city. Theories multiplied like shadows in the night, each more unsettling than the last. Was it truly a random attack, or had he unknowingly stepped into a carefully laid trap? What was he really doing in Kibera that night? And more importantly, who knew he was coming? At first glance, it seemed spontaneous. A mob turning violent after drunken altercation. But those close to the case aren't convinced. Some believe Akoko's presence that night wasn't by chance, and neither was the violence that followed. The ease with which the group located and attacked him hinted at premeditation, not chaos. His brother, who would later confirm Akoko's death, received the tragic news on November 19th. This was 2 days after the attack. That delay raised difficult questions. Why the silence? Why the gap between his death and the official report? Was someone trying to bury the story, hoping the truth would fade with time? Then there's the Boda gang theory, a disturbing but plausible explanation. In tightly knit informal settlements like Kibera, Boda riders often act as more than just transporters. They form a self-policing network that is loyal, aggressive, and ready to defend their own. If Akoko offended someone by flashing cash, disrespecting territory, or even outshining a local figure, this could have triggered a violent backlash. Still, a more haunting idea persists. What if his killers weren't strangers at all? Akoko, by all accounts, was relaxed that evening. He bought rounds of drinks, laughed freely, and moved confidently. That isn't the behavior of a man who felt endangered. He was likely surrounded by people he trusted, which makes any form of betrayal even more painful. Could it have been envy, revenge, or a silent feud boiling beneath smiles? Akoko's loud life, marked by flashy cars, viral TikToks, and generous handouts, made him loved, but also made him a target. In a city of contrast, where wealth and poverty rub shoulders uncomfortably, being too visible can be a death sentence. Akoko's fall wasn't just tragic, it felt orchestrated, personal, and perhaps even more terrifying. In the digital age, stories like Akoko's play out in real time. His followers watched him live, and now they have watched him die. His death isn't just a cautionary tale about flaunting wealth. It's a grim reminder that the internet has blurred the lines between reality and illusion. It has also blurred the lines between wealth and performance, and finally, between safety and danger. It's also a call to the youth chasing viral dreams and digital fame. One must know what they are chasing, who is watching, and most importantly, know what the cost is. This is because for Evance Akoko, the cost was everything. This has been Dark Our Dogs, and if you found this story compelling, like and share. Remember to stay alert.